just get your
Tonight on The Experience, we're going to be talking about the work of the NAACP. President is here with us. Pat, thanks so much for coming by.
Well, thank you for inviting us.
George, thank you for being here. Reverend, thank you for being here as well. We get, I think, you know, as we maybe get a little bit of an overview, the fact is that we can't deny that we are in some very tumultuous times. I mean, as we're talking here this evening, we have seen, you know, once again, violence. We've seen violence in Milwaukee. So, I mean, we're having this conversation against a backdrop that is a difficult time for our nation. Having said that, the work of the NAACP, has it changed for you over the last couple of years, or some of what the mission is, or what you are hearing from constituents on a day-to-day basis? So
we are still about social justice and equality, and with the community policing, although it's happening across the nation, and there are some problems here in Worcester with the relationship between minority communities and police, I think it just, with social media, it's heightened everyone's awareness and fear of our young black men being shot, or the police using unnecessary force against young black men. And so mothers, communities, the police, because violence against the police have escalated too, that we're all looking at, you know, we have to do something. That, you know, there are people and groups that take one side or the other, but it affects all of us. All of us are at risk for violence. So people are very concerned about that. So the way the NAACP is addressing it on a national level, it's, there is the LEADA Act, which is the Law Enforcement Trust and Integrity Act of 2015. This was introduced in Congress in 2015, and it addresses accreditation of law enforcement agencies, law enforcement development programs, administrative due process procedures, enhancing funding to combat police misconduct, National Task Force on Law Enforcement Oversight, federal data collection on law enforcement practices, and medallions for law enforcement officers. And as part of NEAC, the New England Area Conference of the NAACP, we're focusing on training, police training, body cameras, and accountability, and more community involvement with police oversight. Yeah,
and I want to talk about that community involvement. I know that there's the work of the Worcester Black Clergy Alliance as well. And Reverend, I could turn to you just to go on something that you said, Pat, that there's still some problems with communication between the Worcester Police and particularly black youth. Is that fair to say? And yet I continue to hear about the bridges that are being built, the role that the clergy plays in building those bridges and communicating. Do we still have a long way to go? Is Worcester in better shape than a lot of other communities? It's just an ongoing process?
I believe that Worcester's in far better shape than a lot of the other places are. And yes, I do think we still have a long ways to go, but the work is in process. And back in the fall of 2015, we reinstituted the clergy-police partnership that I feel kind of get at the root of trying to bridge the gap between police and clergy, and also police and clergy and the community. Just creating better communication, addressing issues when they occur, such as the one just occurred in Wisconsin. And our role in that is to try and make sure we help to keep a lid on things like, you know, exploring, but also dealing with the issue of when there is wrongdoing on the part of the police, is to be able to sit with them and point that out and try to talk about ways of.
Tell me a little bit about the role of the clergy. Do you have a connection, and particularly with young people in the black community, that police officers can't have, that others can't? I mean, is there just a unique position that you hold? And I ask that also, very much wondering if, you know, there just are young people who no longer are viewing you as an authority figure.
Well, I believe it's that it is inherent in our position as clergy that there's a certain amount of respect that's there. Will we get 100%? No, but we work hard at getting a large percent and hopefully to become a voice of reasoning when we're dealing with those type of situations.
George, and I think both Pat and Reverend that you have touched on this. When we're having this conversation, are people so deeply entrenched that we have dug in our heels? If I am pro-police, I can't see another position. If I feel that black men are being gunned down in the streets, I can't see the police position. Or is there a way for America to have an honest conversation and find some common ground?
I think there is a way, and as Pat stated, it's not just these young black men that are being gunned down. The police are being gunned down also. And so we have to keep that in mind. And when the police step out every day, their life is at risk. And also talking about the clergy reaching out to the young people, probably, well, my thought is that many of the young people that really need to be reached are not in the church. And so we have to find another way to make contact with them and to kind of calm down some of their attitudes toward the police and their actions toward the police. And we all hear about the conversations that every black father has to have with their son about how to handle yourself when you're stopped by the police, because bottom line, we want you to come home.
Yep. Everyone.
Right.
Everybody.
Yes.
And they're probably, right, yes, on both sides. Yeah, no, important point. And they're probably not going to NAACP meetings either, if they're not going into the church. So it comes down to, how do you reach them out on the streets? Is that outreach part of what's being worked on?
Well, we're trying. The work of the NAACP is probably not as glamorous as other organizations, because we are not, our goal is to change maybe hearts and minds, but mostly the law. And so when we work with communities and we work with agencies in the city, we're looking to change the way things are done. And that takes a lot of work, a lot of detail, a lot of sitting down and writing policies and procedures. And so making people understand that, you know, this is a long-lasting way to change the way people interact with each other, and the value of that, instead of, you know, protesting. Protesting is very important because that's public awareness of the issues. And if there were not these protests and social media, I don't think the country would have known what a problem community policing has been. And the depth of implicit bias with law enforcement and dealing with communities of color. Because I think studies show, and that police chiefs around the country are saying that this is a problem.
Yeah, I want to pick up straight ahead. Oh yeah, please jump in.
Okay, I'd like to also add that I think there's some work being done in Worcester right now, along with the chief of police, the city manager's office, as well as clergy, but also reaching out to that community that you was talking about. For instance, we have a representative in now that's meeting with us in the city manager office from Black Lives Matter. So he is supposedly, we hope, is representing to some degree the Black Lives Matter. So the message is getting back, and also he can bring their concerns into that particular meeting.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, I want to hear a little bit more about that, about the work of the clergy-police partnership, and also, Pat, want to pick up what you were just talking about with community policing, and if what Chief Sergeant is talking about when he's talking about community policing, because that is something that he has said from day one. I mean, he wants those officers more into the community. If that's the same as what you're talking about, or if there are still some differences, and that's where we'll pick it up straight ahead on the Hank Stolz Experience.
Interest rates are still at historic lows. And now, with Commerce Bank's new home equity lines of credit, you can borrow up to $250,000 with no annual fee, no closing costs, and no minimum withdrawal at opening. Currently offering a variety of fixed and variable rate loans. Commerce Bank's new home equity lines of credit. Call, click, or stop into any Commerce Bank location, or visit us at bankatcommerce.com.
Welcome to We Hear You, our public service announcement. Today I'd like to talk about understanding your health care benefits. At least once a year, you have the opportunity to make changes to your health care plan. So whether you're retired or still working, It's important to understand your plan and know your options. I've compiled a short checklist of important questions. For example, how affordable is your insurance? What are your copays and deductibles? Do you need a supplement plan to help cover the cost of medication, dental, and hearing health care? For example, Medicare will cover the cost of a hearing evaluation, but it does not cover treatment options. However, many supplement plans have a significant benefit for treating hearing loss. The Hearing and Balance Centers is proud to accept all insurance providers. Thank you for joining us for our We Hear You public service announcements, providing education and information for those of us here in Central Massachusetts.
There are no holidays in Augustdale, so I can spend all month learning to play the ukulele.
While Jen tries to play the ukulele, I'm here to tell you to tune into WooTube all month long in August for 5 brand new videos.
Our viewer mail segment.
I have a great interview with Chef William Nemiroff from the Fireplace Restaurant at the International in Bolton.
We have a variety of music. It's not just jazz. We bring in all kinds of different performers.
Oh, and all our upcoming events.
All that and so much fun coming at you on WooTube.
Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for
Great conversation with some of our leaders, and including the president of the NAACP. Pat, I wanted to pick up with you right where we left off. Community policing.
Yes.
When you were just talking about that, we've had Worcester Police Chief Steve Sargent on the show. He's talked about community policing as well and how important. Have you had conversations directly with him? And is it, when he says community policing, is it the same thing that you're talking to me tonight about?
Well, I will have a conversation with him this Wednesday. So we reached out to him and he responded right away. We'll be sitting down and meeting, and I'm hoping in this meeting we can find out what he's seeing from the community and share what we're hearing from our members. And also, you know, just talk about ways that we can help him build relationships, because it's about relationship building in these communities.
I wanted to go to something that you said as well, George, and it seems to me, be interested in hearing how that meeting goes with the chief, and based a little bit on his conversation, that I'm back to what I had said to you earlier about how much have people kind of dug in their heels. If somebody feels that when they are being stalked by the police, it's because of the color of the skin, that they are being stalked for a different reason than if I was to be stalked by a police officer, and that it's a different view of police officers perhaps. Is that something that, I mean, that can be overcome, that can be changed? Could community policing be a part of changing that perception?
Well, I think for young people growing up, having more contact with the police other than being stopped is a plus. Now, whether that's, I know some people are having basketball programs that involve the police, that having the police out in the community with these children. Every once in a while you see on Facebook a policeman that has stopped to play basketball with some teenagers, and how he's received when he's not the threatening person, that he's like part of them. And I think that type of a relationship at an early age needs to be established, because there are a lot of negative thoughts, like you said. The police, I'm sure they're very concerned when they stop somebody. The person being stopped is certainly very concerned, but it's that tension that has probably built up since they were a child.
Right. And in this clergy-police partnership, we talked a little bit about it from your working with people in the community. That clergy-police partnership, the way in which you're able to work with police officers and bring them into the community, how exactly, is it through meetings? Is it a little more informal than that?
We actually have a monthly meeting once a month. We took a break for July and August. We restart the meetings again in September. And we are on the 27th of August, we will be having the Worcester Police Clergy outing. It's an annual event, and we reach out to the community. And the police are there. They help to facilitate some of the activity. They provide, protection, street closing, and also they just intermingle with the community, with the people who are there, and talk to them. They don't just come there and have the hand on their gun. They come and interact with the community and let them know that we're one of you. And in addition to that, we just reinstituted a program out of Empire Community School, which is combined with John Street Baptist Church and Mount Olive Pentecostal Church, mentoring young people and tutoring them after school program. And one day out of the week, I think we'd be meeting, having this program maybe 2 to 3 days a week. But one of those days will be allowed for the police to come in uniform or out of uniform, just to interact with the students who will be there. And we're going to try and service around 25 to 30 students.
Wow.
And we're going to have 10-week sessions of it.
How much is faith an answer to this problem, a place for us to find common ground? Youth, members of the black community, members of the Worcester community, members of the police community, all coming together?
I would say 100%, but I'm going to say 75% to give a little time for everybody else to feel that they have a role to play. But a huge part of it is
faith is a big part of this, or can play a big part in it.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Yes.
For me, I am a person of faith.
Yes, yes.
But it's also we do social justice work out of our
Yeah.
humanity and our compassion for one another.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and all of this work too, I just don't want to forget when we work with the police that we have to give some space for people to talk about their pain of being harshly treated by the police or
Yes.
suffered loss from being.
Do you find that if somebody is able to come forward and express that they're able to let it go? Is there a new beginning that can come from that? Is part of it, in other words, that they feel that they've just never been listened to, or that story has been either I don't want to hear it or I don't believe it? I
know every person of color has faced racism. I do, and my commitment is to me personally. Yes, I have to let it go. I know this pain and I know this anger, and I know the sadness and how it is scary too, because you have no control over it, and you don't have control over how people look at you because of just your skin color. But this is part of the healing process, is to talk about this, is to make people understand this, and for everybody to move past this. And you can't blame someone for not being able to move past this as quickly as you'd like.
Yeah. To this, Faith in Worcester Day of Prayer, coming up in September.
And we're very excited about this. September the 27th, it's a Tuesday evening, 5:30, in front of City Hall. We're inviting all faiths, all cultures to come together to pray for the city of Worcester. We are, and when I say all faiths, I don't mean just Christian, I mean Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, everyone to come together. And we're hoping to close the evening out by having all the children from these houses of faith to sing God Bless America. And I don't know how many people are going to come, but just everyone take this as an invitation to come.
Yeah.
That if we don't get in touch with you, because it is a challenge trying to reach every house of faith.
Yes.
But take this as an invitation that you are invited. We look forward to seeing you. We want all of us to pray for the city, pray for each other.
Yeah.
Where did the idea come from?
God.
Yeah. It said, here's what needs to be done.
I think so. I think so. I don't know. I can't say where do ideas come from. Sometimes they just show up in your head and say, wait a minute. The more I think about this, the more I like it. And then in discussing with some people at the NAACP, they liked it. And then when I started making phone calls, because see, I'm old, I was doing it the old-fashioned way. I was making phone calls. And I'm finding the people that I'm talking to are getting excited about it also.
Right.
So that encouraged me to keep going, and then I even went so far as to open up the phone book and start running down the phone book, trying to contact.
Everyone he speaks to is so
Yeah.
excited. People in Worcester, there are so many great people in Worcester, and they want to come together and show that we're united in love and that we are here to, they want to pray over the city, all of the people who are suffering and all of the people in need in the city of Worcester.
Well, I think we could have done 10 shows, but I think that's a great note for us to end it on. If people want to get in touch and help you in your work, so meetings are happening, and simply go to the website.
Well, our website is down right now.
Okay.
We're on Facebook. You can email us, naacpworcester2058@gmail.com. And our next meeting is on the 22nd of August and 6:30, YWCA downstairs. So we hope to see everybody there.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for
And
coming and being part of the show
Thank
today.
you.
As always, thank you for being with us, and we have much more to come right here on the Hank Stolz Experience.
You know